In short, this is what I have to say. Let us forget spites and grudges and concentrate. Come, let us sit and try to relate. Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Come, my brother, come, my sister, let us build a nation together. We could do it. We have done it before. Not because as a country, as a nation, we experience difficulties. We go through very challenging times, but that should shape us. That should make us more resilient, tougher as a people. So we have to understand that Grenada needs us now more than ever before. And yes, you could have your differences politically, but when it comes to Grenada, when it comes to nation building, when it comes to developing a country, transforming our communities, transforming our homes, and also our mindset, that should be first and foremost, and then our communities, and ultimately the country. We need to pull together to achieve that. I want to encourage those on Facebook and on YouTube to please share the live so as many people as possible can get that opportunity to be a part of the conversation. I want to say I receive a voice recording or an audio recording of what transpired at that meeting in St. Andrew, Northwest. And I thought about playing that audio recording because these people giving you now the impression that it was a Boston Tea Party they had. They're giving you that impression that the meeting was well organized, it was smooth, and so on. But that audio reveals that it was chaotic. It was chepelting, it was confusion, quarreling, bacchanal, and as usual, you know who will lead that kind of bacchanal and confusion. But I am happy to know and to be alive, to see this very said thing happening within this rogue organization. I'm not surprised. So that audio is actually showcasing how radical that organization has become and how disorganized. In other words, the naked empire, the naked empire does not control the organization anymore. Yes, he may have some money to mobilize and organize buses to get to a particular place in that constituency because the people who went to that meeting, they were not really from that constituency predominantly so. In other words, the majority of the people who were at that meeting, they were from other constituencies, and they were bused into that area. So the people from that constituency, they were not letting these folks come and bad talk the member of parliament and say all kinds of nasty things about that individual. They stood up, and I must applaud them. I must applaud them for doing that, defending your member of parliament, making sure that Grenadians understand that she was telling the truth and nothing but the truth. So that audio speaks volumes about what is happening within that organization and how disorganized they are. In other words, the leaking they got at the polls is still having a serious impact, negative impact on them. They still cannot come to terms with that reality that they lost, and there's a new sheriff in town, and Grenadians are extremely happy with what they are seeing. We only recently saw workers within government getting pay on the 15th. Well, in fact, they got paid on the 13th of the month. So half of the month, or almost half of the month, they will get pay, and coming to the end, they will get pay again. In other words, their salaries have been cut in half, sharing it equally so. On the 15th, they get the first half. On the 30th, they get the second half. And it augurs well for the economy and also for our people, because I know of quite a number of people who borrow money to get to the end of the month because they have to pay bus, they have to buy food, they have to, in some cases, buy Pampers and wipes, milk, just name it. So with them having that money, access to their money on the 15th, then they can use that to get to the end of the month. And the end of the month money, they can save it or they can do other things with it. But that's good. So people are talking about the benefits. One individual said it can't be done, but here you have a team of men and women who they say were not competent, they're inexperienced, but they are not just saying it could be done. They have done it. They're doing it. We saw the issue of the pension and the gratuity, where they told us during their reign in power, it would cost taxpayers $1.2 billion to pay the gratuity and the pension, the retroactive pension and gratuity. They went after people start scrutinizing and talking about it and say, no, that figure is too much. They break that down to $465 million, right? So they bring it down to 465 million. And then what they did, when pressure started to mount and people started to scrutinize the whole thing further, examine the thing further, they say, nah, boy, they can't find the money. That is not possible. But the NDC came into power, and the NDC, within a matter of months, paid $75.1 million in retroactive pension and gratuity to our Grenadian brothers and sisters and uncles and aunts who worked extremely hard for country, retired, and were marching in the streets, asking for their gratuity, asking for their pension. So they got their money. Not only that, we saw the teachers out in the sun, TAMCC teachers marching, protesting, fighting for their own money. The NNP refused to pay them their money. The NDC came into power and they paid them their money. And they entered into an agreement to pay them the balance. We saw the dock salaries paid. So a number of things have happened in the last 9 to 10 months. Grenadians are happier now more than ever before. And Grenadians are now able to compare. The NNP represents instability. The NNP represents chaos. The NNP represents infighting, bacchanal, confusion. The NNP represents poverty, vulnerability, illiteracy, and suffering. Overall, pain and anger, right? Pain and agony. That is what the NNP represents. But the NDC administration, the NDC represents peace, prosperity, tranquility, happiness, transformation. The NDC represents competence. The NDC is results-based oriented. They're getting things done. It's just different. But Grenada has always fared better under an NDC administration. If you don't think so, I can tell you, and I can give you examples. Because many times people make you believe that the NNP was actually doing something while in power. But look at the amount of poverty that exists. Look at the amount of poverty after the NNP lost the election. Look at the amount of people who live in poverty. And look at the amount of vulnerable, poor people we have in this country. The amount of illiteracy, illiterate people in the country. Look at the amount of illiteracy, the rate of illiteracy. I mean, it's just high, extremely high. Chaotic. The institutions, they are broken and they just left the place in rubble, so to speak. The NDC always comes in and put things in order, fix things, get it done. And we are seeing that today. So, folks, I am saying to you, do not believe that meeting in St. Andrew Northwest was a Boston Tea Party, but instead it was chaotic, it was problematic, it was melee, it was confusion, it was real bacchanal. But I am not surprised. I expected that, and that audio depicts that, it shows that. But out of principle, being ethical, I will not feature that audio, right? Because what they did this time wrong is to more or less close the thing in, right? Put all kind of safeguards in place because they thought somebody will just pop in, right? So it was more or less no streaming, no nothing. But you know how Kem Jones operates. I was able to get people to infiltrate in there and do what they're supposed to do because I want to know what's going down, right? So it was breached. But again, I will not play it. I will not feature it. I will talk about aspects of that, but I will not feature the actual audio out of, caution. And not only that, being ethical in what I do. I want to say this, folks. The Honorable Delma Thomas spoke to the Grenadian people, and she said that the government, because they were having difficulty after they lost in meeting their monthly obligations. Because remember, they came from receiving 8,000, 9,000, whatever the amount of money on a monthly basis to $1,200. So that dropped to $1,200 because they were in opposition and they are in opposition. So the government decided, well, let us increase their money because, truth and in fact, that money cannot pay their mortgage or feed their family or make sure that they live a comfortable life. You just can't. So the Deacon Mitchell-led administration, understanding that, decided to increase the amount that they were receiving. But one individual said it will be immoral to accept that. But all the other MPs, they were fighting to make ends meet, and it was difficult for them to meet their commitments. But that individual is already rich, but the others have to fight to make ends meet. But I decided to do some research. Do you know that this said individual is collecting a huge pension from government? Let me tell you why. That individual, because he served as a member of parliament for 30 something years, and because he was prime minister for 20 something years, his pension, in other words, anything over 15 years, he's getting a full pension, a huge amount of money on a monthly basis as pension from government. Do you understand me? Because he way past the amount of years in government. He double it, and he almost triple it. So he's getting a huge pension from government, and he's also getting the max pension from the NIS. So he's already rich. He has a lot of money, but he's also on a monthly basis collecting almost what he used to collect when he was prime minister. So his pension is huge. He's comfortable. He's okay. But when it comes to members of his team, they cannot say the same thing. But he doesn't want them to accept the increase from the government as members of the opposition team. So even if government increases that to $2,500 or $3,000, for example, that would help them in many, many ways. Maybe they can pay their mortgage, maybe they can pay a little bill, but they can get by at least. But he doesn't want that for them. He wants them to remain collecting the $1,200. But look at him and what he's collecting. He's already rich, and he might also be collecting a pension from the United States of America. Right? And maybe other areas, other places. Maybe the University of the West Indies too. So I am saying to you, he's collecting a hefty pension from government, from we taxpayers, because he has been there for 30 something years. I mean, this guy is an old guru in this thing. That is why they call him grandpa in the parliament. But I am saying all of this to show you how disingenuous the individual is. Because here is a good offer by the government. The government didn't have to do that. The Deacon Mitchell-led administration didn't have to offer anything. They could have just left them just like that. He decided to say, boy, I know that $1,200 cannot do anything much for these people. They have loans, they have commitments to meet, they have a family, and they're humans. Right? And as a result, they said to them, discuss among yourself. We want to increase what you have, or at least it will be comfortable enough. I think the offer was either $2,500, $2,500, or $3,000, somewhere around there, that they increase it to a significant amount, right? For them, from $1,200, because once you're an opposition member of parliament, you will get $1,200 per month. That's all. That's all. Right? So you have to look at the nature of that individual. Here is a good offer to your members who are hurting, who are suffering because they have a mortgage to pay. They have rent to pay. They have children to take care of. They have a family to take care of. They need money, yes, but you already have money. And not only that, the Honorable Delma Thomas went on to say that they were actually getting assistance from the individual slash the party. She used words to that effect. And Tutu's, because there is move to remove the individual, because really and truly, he overstayed his time. His time on the stage is up. Because look, you need to know when to exit the stage. A good dancer knows when to exit the stage, or else they would start to boo you. They would start to pelt stuff at you on the stage. They will chase you down. In other words, you have to know when to exit. You perform, you get the round of applause if you did well, and exit the stage. So when they start speaking about that, because I know they are not happy with this individual being there still, and the individual, anytime people bring gossip or hearsay and them say to him, he loves that. He loves that, and she say and he say and them say and that one say and that one say, and then he gets all riled up, all upset, all angry. So then he started the process of cutting this. When I say he slash his party decided to cut the amount of money that, or cut the money that they were getting, the little assistance to cushion the impact, in the immediate. So they cut that. So then they left these MPs to fend for themselves, to fall flat on their face. That is exactly what transpired, which is extremely sad. But the individual already has money. He's rich. He gets a huge pension from the government of Grenada, right? He also gets a pension, the max from NIS, and maybe he's getting from the United States, and maybe he's getting from UE, from different sources. It's amazing, amazing, but it speaks to the individual and how he has always functioned in government, out of government. That is exactly what it is. And I hope it is a learning curve for our Grenadian brothers and sisters. Because it's one thing to come out there and give the impression that you love people and that you love Grenada and so on. But your action should speak more than your words. Your action, your deeds. That is where we supposed to evaluate you, assess you, and grade you. And that is exactly what we are doing, based on real stories, real experiences, real accounts of the way you treat women within that party, the way you treat your own people within that party. They can't talk. If they talk, then you take the money that you're assisting them with for their mortgage and other things. You push them aside. You vilify them. You castigate them. You treat them like dirt. And it's sad, but I hope we are learning in the process, because it is important that we learn. And I am, waiting patiently to hear some of those weekly critics. I'm waiting to hear what Callistra Faria has to say about Delma Thomas, Keith Mitchell, the NNP, and what is happening within that organization. I would love to hear that. Waiting to hear what Beta, Jenny, Ripe, or Simon has to say. Because the meantime they're in an interview and you speaking about, or they're speaking about the NNP, or they ask a question about the NNP and what's happening there, they pivot to the NDC, right? Because to them, speaking about the NDC gives them happiness, gives them joy. And only recently I listened to an interview. I think it was on the Bob Report. And I laugh because they reference this lady, this young lady, who's expressing herself, and nothing wrong with that. And they compare that to the Honorable Delma Thomas and what is happening there. And I laugh because this young lady is not a member of the NDC. This young lady was never elected as a member of parliament. This young lady has never served on the executive of the NDC as any executive member or any senior member within there. Yes, the young lady may have used her platform to push for change. She may have, been involved in other events and activities. Yes, we know that. But it pales in comparison to what is happening within the NNP. An elected member of parliament who served as a minister of government for 2 consecutive terms and so on. She was given added portfolio. It's different. You're talking about an outsider compared to somebody within a party, right? So I just don't understand how you could compare that. And I think it was William Joseph who referenced that, and I laugh. Right? That's Willie. I laugh because if you put it on a scale, you realize that young lady speaking and talking about her situation and how she feels. Nothing wrong with that. But that cannot even weigh quarter pound. All right? Or an ounce. They used to sell ounce of butter. That cannot even weigh an ounce within the scheme of the politics of the country. And the relevance. When you look at the Honorable Delma Thomas, a member of the NNP, elected member of parliament. She served as minister twice in 2 terms and so on. It's just different. So the NNP is falling apart. It's chaotic. It's exploring in front of us. So to come and make this stupid comparison, it's amazing. It's amazing. But I am saying, folks, it does not measure on the scale. And I am saying to you folks, I was telling some friends in St. George's, some of these things just ignore the distractions. Because everybody have a platform, they could talk and they could rah, 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 rah. Everybody could do that. The internet is free for everybody, right? Free. You could talk, you could rah, rah, you could talk every day, anytime. Every day, anytime. That's what it is. Does that make you equal as the Honorable Delma Thomas or the situation in the NNP? No. It's just a bad comparison. Terrible comparison. And here say and them say and she said, stupidness, rubbish. But I am saying what is happening in the NNP is explosive. It's causing the NNP to fall apart. It's falling into pieces. So don't confuse yourself with that. In fact, I was saying to a friend yesterday in St. George's, this would have no political implication for the NDC. Zero. Zero implications. Yeah. When people think about NNP and Keith, they don't want to see them at all. So you out there, you talk, you blah, 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 blah. That's up to you. But it has no political implications, no political fallouts. But when it comes to the NNP, it's a time bomb. It's terrible. They're reeling, they're fighting to get things in order and how they could respond. Right? So there's no comparison. Zero comparison. And yes, everybody could talk and speak and so on. As I said to a friend, all you need to do, look at the numbers. There was a particular time when that said individual would have a program and talk about issues and so on, and the numbers on her platform will be off the roof, off the chain. But the minute time all the outburst and all the obscene, cussing, the numbers start dropping significantly to 100 and something people. People are not interested. They don't want to listen to. They don't want to view. They don't want to hear. That is what could happen. You become toxic. You become, people don't want to hear. There are one or two people who might be all riled up. But I'm saying that to say to you, it is a bad comparison. So I'm telling my good partner, Willie, that comparison was not the ideal. It just doesn't weigh the same. The NNP is falling apart, and you all need to face that reality. But I predicted that, and I told you it will happen. They will fall apart because one person was micromanaging this organization. And the minute time, he can't do it anymore because no power. Without power, he has nothing. He's lonely. And he knows that. He's fully aware of that. And we are seeing that today. So I'm saying, let us continue to remain focused, keep our eyes on the prize. And yes, there will be distractions. A lot of other people who did liquor thing for NDC, who go out on a liquor platform and talk briefly, or who go and walk in a village or so on for the NDC, they might be aggrieved, they might be unhappy with something, and they might just go on Facebook and rah, cuss all kind of obscene, cuss all kind of thing, and make all kind of old stupidness. A lot of people will do that. So what? So what? That makes them important? That would make them better or valuable? Or come on, how do you approach that person? How do you deal with that person in organizations and different things? It's waste of time, right? So I am saying you have to expect those things. You have to expect those things as you go along. There will be supporters within the NNP, right, who are going to expose more stuff. The NDC, you're going to have one or two people who, you build a piece of road here and you're in reach by their house and they vex and they take their phone and they go on social media and they start to get on. And they call a radio station and they start to get on. You have to expect that. But that doesn't mean to say that they are relevant and that they're going to change your belief or your vote or your support. You're mad. That would never happen. A lady told me about 2 days ago, she said anytime she think about NNP coming back and keep coming back, she said anything the NDC do, she had no problem with it. She said when she hear one or two NDC people coming out and talk and say this and say that, she just sweep that on the side because she understands the bigger picture. The bigger picture. It's what it is. The bigger picture. Grenada. We want to move Grenada forward. We don't want Keith Mitchell back and the NNP back in power. You're mad. You're mad or what? Way. And we will never make one or two or three people or 10 people with a loud mouth from time to time cause you to change or to deviate from that transformation agenda or to move back to this dark days of our country and so on. You're mad? You're crazy or what? I tell people that. I said to them, look, this is insignificant. But all you need to do is to look at the numbers. Because, for example, if you had a platform and you're speaking about issues and you're doing certain things, right? And you had 800 people, 700 people viewing you, listening to you. They want to hear what you had to say, right? And now you're trying to do something. You might be cussing NDC or saying whatever you have to say, and you have 200 people, 300 people. Something has to be wrong. But look at me, for example. My numbers have been maintained. Right now, as I speak to you, I have almost 1,000 people viewing me on Facebook and YouTube put together. Of course, Facebook would be more. Facebook would be about either above 900 and something or 800 and something, right? I'm not able to see it here. On my screen, I'm seeing the numbers for both jointly, right? So I am saying, folks, my numbers have been consistent. There is no other program in Grenada with that kind of numbers in the morning time or during the night time the 1,300 or 1,400 people sitting in their car, in their home, in wherever they are, in front of the tablet, the computer, whatever, and they viewing me and listening to what I have to say. And then if you look at the numbers when it comes to the videos when I upload them, so there are people who look at you live, and you have to understand how this thing works. They look at you live, they follow what you do, and there are those who will not look at you live. They would go back and look at you, right? So on Facebook, we have 922 people who are sitting somewhere in Grenada, Carriacou, PT Martinique, or around the world listening to Kem Jones right now as we speak, right? And then the others are on YouTube, almost 1,000 people. And no other program in Grenada you can get it on. None. Political programs, NDC, NNP, no other program. Only this program. But my numbers have been consistent. You look at the last couple programs, for example, that I did, and all you need to do is just look at the numbers. So it means that I have been able to maintain my numbers and the listenership on this program. And that is significant because there are those who are out there, they rant, they rail, they say all kind of stuff, but their numbers keep dwindling, keep going down. And sometimes we have to recognize that, right? We have to recognize that. So look at the numbers, for example. It is important for you to look at the numbers. The program last night's program, almost 7,000 people viewed that program on Facebook. The night before, 11,000 people viewed that program. The program before that, 27,000 people on Facebook alone, I'm talking about, right? On Facebook, 27,000 people. The program before that, and so 16,000 people. The program before that, 20,000 people viewed that. The program before that, 20,000 people viewed it. The program before that, 10,000 people. The program before that, 11,000 people. The program before that, 13,000 people. The program before that, 12,000 people. The program before that, 13,000 people. The program before that, 10,000 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 people. The program before that, and the person who is calling me, don't call my phone at this point in time. The program before that, 10,000 people. I'm going to block you, don't call me, right? And you can go on and on and on and on and on, right? The amount of people who follow the program that I do. The numbers are consistent. So sometimes it will reach in 33,000, 35,000, somebody reaches 20-something thousand, 10,000 to 15,000. It's consistent. You check the numbers of other programs in Grenada. Check the heartbeat program, the NDC heartbeat program. Way, way, way below. Check the Mikey Live program. Way, way, way below. Check the NNP program up north. Way, way, way below. Check Sheldon Scott program. Way, way, way below. Check the program with Cali Stronson. Way, way below. All these different programs. They are way below in numbers. And we are only using Facebook because there is a real way of calculating the numbers and getting the data. And I have been very consistent. So it means that what I'm doing is working, and it's working well. So you out there ranting and raving, and you have all kind of things to say about the NDC, this, and every 2 words you use, you're cussing obscene. You're cussing, melee bacchanal. Come on. It pales in comparison. So I am saying the NNP is falling apart. They are falling apart. They are breaking up. And we are seeing it every day. And I love that. It makes me feel good because what we want is good for Grenada. We want Grenada to move forward. And Grenada will move forward. We will not make one person or 2 or 3 people who not happy with some debushing work, or not happy with some piece of concrete drain, or not happy with some kind of stupidness, and they decided, well, they go on some Facebook thing and they go rant and rave and put on a piece of shot clothes and a piece of shot thing and expose this and expose that and nonsense. Utter rubbish. And when I speak, you might have 1 or 2 of these people doing another live and doing another program, and they fall for the trap, the bait, because Kem Jones will bait them, right? To rah, Kem Jones this, Kem Jones that. And then I still continue. And I do what I have to do because it is about Grenada. I'm not in this for anything. Zero. It's about Grenada moving forward. So anytime you think about Keith and NNP returning, you must do all that you have to do in your power to make sure that you prevent that from happening. You have to. It's amazing. So we have to maintain that composure, remain focused, and understand that the NNP will mash up. It will fall apart. It will all kind of mess go happen. Chair pelting, and mind you, they're afraid to have the convention. They're afraid to have the convention. The time for the convention passed already. Long, much times, a lot of times. They're afraid to have it. Because why? You got real problems, real infighting, real confusion, real melee. They're afraid. They're scared. NDC had the convention. They had convention for even the women's arm and all different things like that. Convention for the party. The NDC is organized. The NDC is focused. The NDC is, looking ahead. The NDC is stable. It's just different. Different. So, you have a lot of pundits and they go and they do commentaries and so on. And the comparisons. There is no parallel here. NDC represents unity. NDC represents peace. NDC represents tranquility. NDC represents transformation, prosperity, development, progress. NDC represents all that's good for Grenada, Carriacou, and PT Martinique. But when you look at the NNP, it's amazing. But we expected that to happen. I am not surprised at all. I'm not surprised. The Bolio Village Council, they're having a meeting today. Today is the Bolio Village Council meeting at the school, at the Bolio RC School, starting at 6:30 p.m. today. Right? So Pamela Adolphus and the team, they're inviting you to come out and be a part of that meeting today. The residents of Bolio, Snow Corner, Boca, Bellevue, that area, go there and discuss how you can develop your community, how you can build your community. So that's today, the Bolio Village Council. Their meeting is today. All right? Great. So, nice. All right. My good friend there, Kim the King, he's saying, hey, Kim. He said, hey, Kim, my internet stream for the show numbers are way, way up. As Kim the King, he's saying anytime the program is on, the numbers are significant. Significant. And it's the same thing for nearly all platforms when I do programs or when I am on. Because people understand that I'm sincere, I'm genuine about the cause, about moving Grenada forward, about developing this country. Right? Hey, Delma, watching your live right now. Love it. Right. So a good friend is saying the Honorable Delma Thomas. She's actually tuned in live and, following the program. Right? So good. So that's a good friend here telling me that, somebody who is monitoring the program, who's monitoring the program. So I want to say good morning to the Honorable Delma Thomas. And look, you're an honorable woman. You're a decent woman. When you speak, you tell the truth. It came from the heart, and that is significant. You were not speaking with a script. You were telling the truth. And that is why I say to people, we need to support you. We need to make sure, defend you too. Because I know, the NNP will come after you. They will try to discredit you. They will attack you. And that is something that is expected. Right. So Pamela, I did not forget you. Pamela Adolphus, I did mention your meeting a while ago, my dear. I just, in fact, a couple seconds ago. Right? So Pamela saying, hey, don't forget the village council meeting. I actually mentioned it a while ago. Right? I did that. If you're listening there to the radio, you will know that for certain, my good friend, Pamela Adolphus. So again, folks, let's remain focused. Let's understand the bigger picture. It's about Grenada. We want the NDC to remain in power for a very long time. They are not perfect. One or two times they go do certain things, you may not like it, but it's not a reason for you to just go there and, you understand the point? You have to be tactical. You have to be strategic because we're moving to the next level. We want Grenada to move forward. The NNP going to fall apart, right? They're going to fall apart. We know that Because as long as this short man syndrome exists, with this iron fist, this individual, that will continue. Folks, have a wonderful day. I wish you all the best. Have a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. Peace and love. Take good care. Bye for now. We have to call it a morning, right? You have to pull the curtain down. We have to pull the curtain down. Bye for now.
The proceeding was a paid program. The views expressed on this program are